Galatians chapter 1, and we'll start out by reading the passage out of the ESV. Chapter 1, and I'm going to jump down to verse 6 and 7 out of the ESV. Quote, "I am astonished that you are so quickly deserting him who called you in the grace of Christ and are turning to a different gospel. Not that there is another one, but that there are some who trouble you and want to distort the gospel of Christ." And I'm going to dispense with reading the Greek like I did in the liturgy. I'll just read the English and that'll suffice. Here are my comments for this particular verse. These two verses, by the way. Speaking of Paul, by his, quote, astonishment, end quote, taken to be rhetorical, I believe, we learn that Sha'ul has invested previous time and effort in these Gentile believers, perhaps having visited them twice before finally penning his letter around AD 55 or 56. And there's a footnote 72 that shows that according to Spiros Zodhiates, the complete word study New Testament commentary to the book of Galatians, on page 613, that the letter was dated to about, as I mentioned, either 55 or 56. Let's continue. The villains of the piece, identified variously as agitators, Judaizers, legalizers, or influencers, have succeeded in persuading the new Gentiles that covenant standing, which is read in Christian parlance as saved, was not granted via faith in Yeshua alone, but rather conversion to Judaism was needed to finalize the membership. Let's keep reading. Sha'ul saw this persuasion, right? He recognized this influence and its apparent successful campaign. And he recognized that it was successful, and as a result he saw it as a deserting of the one who called you. In fact, that's the phrase he uses in the letter that we're discussing here, right? Verse 6, "I'm astonished that you are so quickly deserting him who called you." So this idea of going down the path of conversion to Judaism was a desertion of genuine faith in Messiah. Desertion. So I go on to say, Paul saw this as a desertion, and namely, leaving the Messiah was not something that Paul wanted his readers to do. He didn't want them to entertain this idea, even if they were unaware that that's what's going on. I go on to say that because of this new errant theology, which is that Gentiles must become Jews before they can achieve full and lasting covenant status by God, viz. Be saved, right? They were essentially becoming Jews in order to become covenant members, which is equated with salvation. Because of this, because this theology ran counter to the genuine good news, and what was that? That in Messiah both Jew and Greek are on equal covenant footing. That's the genuine good news. Because of this, Sha'ul refers to this errant theology as, quote, another gospel, right? Euangelion. The Greek is another gospel, the news of good. The word gospel there is euangelion, not the word another. So Paul is referring to this other good news, this other gospel, as false, as another gospel. And it's really not good news from Paul's perspective, especially when compared to the truth, right? It's only within the perspective of the truth that we understand that the other gospel is really not good news. It's not even an additional gospel per se, because this is not some sort of dualism where there really are two doors to God, and it doesn't matter which door you choose, A or B, they both lead to God. That's not it at all, not according to Paul. So it's not that it's another gospel in the sense that it's another way to God, like, say, many of world religions purport today. There's many paths to God, kind of the spoke wheel theory, where you have spokes on a wheel that are all converging on a hub in the middle. And in this analogy, the hub is God, and all of the spokes that convene in the hub are the different religions on the wheel called truth. And so, we know the world teaches some of that it doesn't matter how you get to God. So, but that's not what Paul teaches. Paul teaches that there's only one exclusive path to God, and that's why he's going to campaign for the exclusive truth.